Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahawashi, Bahasham, Barakahakwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and in this video, I'll be profiling a clip from CBN News' YouTube channel, which I believe stands for the Christian Broadcasting Network, Christian Bugness Network. But the title of the clip is Unsustainable Mass Exodus of Police Officers Leaving Communities in Danger. And as the title says, there's been a large number of police officers all across the country leaving the force due to a myriad of reasons. They feel underpaid, underappreciated in society, especially after the George Floyd protests in 2020 and a bunch of other incidences where these cops have put people to death, which in turn has had people scrutinize the police and look at them as a major enemy in society. They have that acronym ACAB, all cops are bastards. The list goes on. And what this is ultimately going to lead to is just more lawlessness in society, which is all prophesied in the scriptures to take place. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And when we go into the definition for the word iniquity, it's G458, anomia. And in the outline of biblical usage, it says the condition of without law because ignorant of it, because of violating it, contempt and violation of law, iniquity, wickedness. And this is ultimately talking about the world being without the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi in the scriptures governing it. But it can also be talking about the laws, these man-made laws in these different countries, not being adhered to by the citizenry, being ignored and violated. And what would be one of the things to help exacerbate that? Police officers leaving the force, so there's less enforcement going on. And that can especially be seen down here in New Orleans. There's been a large number down here of cops leaving the force. So it's pretty much becoming Gotham City down here. Carjackings every day, people running red lights. And one thing that's been constantly building up is grapes toward women out here. And this is just a microcosm of what's going to happen to the rest of the country. And as we get closer and closer to all hell breaking loose during Jacob's trouble, expect more lawlessness out here. Expect more crimes being committed. And ultimately, this is the judgment of Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi on you people, especially in the United States of America, for all the wickedness you've been committing. But I'm going to play the first couple of minutes of this clip. And this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
Recruiting and retention of law enforcement officers has become a daunting challenge to police departments nationwide. Since 2020, a mass exodus of officers and record lows in new recruits have resulted in critical staffing shortages. CBN's Caitlin Burke takes a look at what's being done to fill the void.
And real quick, again, down here in New Orleans, I can't remember the exact statistics, but pretty much for the New Orleans Police Department, however many recruits they get in the academy, more than half of that actually pass or make it to the end. And about a month or so ago, some of the brothers and I were talking to these guys who were downtown patrolling while we were holding camp, and they told us in East New Orleans, which East New Orleans down here, for anybody that doesn't know, is pretty much the Wild West. everything's going on down there. But they pretty much said for all of East New Orleans, they've only got about 5 police officers patrolling it, which is a complete joke.
Boy.
Here in Baltimore, Maryland, the police department lost nearly 300 officers in 2022 alone. Now, at unsustainable staffing levels, the city's police union warns their forces are simply stretched too thin to keep the public safe. Ranked as one of the cities with the highest homicide rates, concerned citizens are urging officials to do something.
Because iniquity or lawlessness shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Many people getting in that dog-eat-dog, get-it-how-you-live spirit out here. More homicides, carjackings, burglaries, rape, you name it. And all of these issues are only going to be exacerbated as we go into hyperinflation, the economy collapses, these food shortages really hit, and all these other factors that Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai is bringing to this world, especially America, to dismantle this system.
Why do we keep losing kids? Why? We don't have enough police staff. Obviously, we heard this here. We have a net loss. We don't have a community that wraps around.
In a recent statement, Mike Mancuso, president of the Baltimore City Police Union, warned the department will only continue hemorrhaging officers if the city doesn't improve working conditions and drastically increase pay. And Baltimore isn't alone.
We are at a point now where almost every large and mid-sized police department is having difficulty recruiting new police officers to the profession. It's a crisis because...
And that's one thing I've seen, not just down here in New Orleans, but hey, when I travel to Baton Rouge or any other area, you're seeing billboards along the streets, hey, begging for people to join the police department. And that's something I've never seen in, I can honestly say, in my entire life. That just goes to show you how desperate the situation is out here.
Police officers are leaving their agencies in record numbers, and we've got to replace those officers, and it's getting more and more difficult to do so.
In Seattle, fewer detectives are available to investigate sexual assault cases. Massachusetts.
And those are going to increase as they have been increasing. You're seeing more and more incidents pop up in the news of women getting assaulted out here. Hey, these men out here seeing that there's no repercussions to it. And then what else? Over the last couple of years, you've seen this whole MGTOW red pill ideology come out here where men are starting to wake up to the fuckery of women, and they're getting angry and they're looking to get their licks back on them. And it's also prophesied in the scriptures that you women are going to go through it. This is Isaiah chapter 32, verses 9 to 12. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. And this is talking about the women of the tribes, the women of Israel, or you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, first and foremost. But hey, these calamities are going to trickle down to you nations of other women as well. And you women have been at ease under feminism and all these benefits and goodies you've been getting from the government. Hey, these programs to hire more women on the job, send more women to college. And of course, we can't forget things like child support, Section 8, SNAP food benefits, no-fault divorce. The list goes on and on. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail. The gathering shall not come. And that vintage can go into these police officers enforcing the laws and protecting you women. Hey, you're no longer able to get child support, Section 8 or food benefits, and you losing all of these lucrative jobs due to the economy hemorrhaging and us going into hyperinflation. Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. Hey, as more and more women get assaulted out here, they lose their jobs, don't have food to eat, and just go through the hells of Jacob's trouble, hey, you're going to lament for that vintage, for the times where you could just do whatever you want without repercussions. But hey, we're coming into the times where that's going to end and never come back. Like I said earlier in this video, down here, there's been an uptick in a grape of women, especially around the Tulane and Loyola College areas, which Tulane and Loyola are two prestigious colleges down here in New Orleans, where the main people that go there are Edomites, so-called white people. So you're getting a lot of Beckys assaulted and the perpetrators getting away with it. And just due to a lack of manpower, a lot of those cases getting pushed to the back burner for more serious incidences of crime out there. So if these Beckys out here aren't getting any help due to grape, how much more do you think it's going to be worse for you women of the tribes, you so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American women? Hey, as it says in Micah chapter 7, verse 10, hey, she shall be as the mire of the streets, trodden down. But before that, getting handled, we'll just put it like that.
Massachusetts State Police had to move troopers normally investigating homicides to street patrol. And in Kansas City, vacancies are causing record-long wait times for 911 callers.
I always wanted to be a cop. Always wanted to join the military. You have to be 21 to become a cop. So I just started out, went to the Army for 5 years, and then just kind of had like a seamless transition right into the police academy, and then did that for 6 years.
Now, 32-year-old Josh Blackford is walking away from what he once considered a dream job, determining the risk unworthy of the reward.
I just got my W-2 in the mail the other day for last year. I worked the whole year. I quit January 4th of this year. And my box one is $49,000 after being a cop for 6 years. And that is just, that alone 100% solidified my decision to leave.
Low pay isn't the only reason behind this mass exodus. Cops leaving the force have cited burnout, low morale, and decreasing support from state and local leaders as deciding factors. Instances of excessive force cases, like in the recent death of Tyree Nichols, also continue to haunt departments.
People are mad at you. Your administration very often doesn't support you. You turn on the TV news and you hear that your profession is a bunch of racist jerks. And then you're
Well, aren't they? As well as full of coons as well.
working 12, 14, 16 hours, 6 to 7 days a week, seeing the most horrific things that society has to offer day after day after day.
National Police Association spokesperson Betsy Brantner Smith says departments are working to regain public trust through an increased focus on training and transparency.
American law enforcement is always looking to improve, and that's one of the things.
Said with this clip. But hey, as we can see, the situation continues to deteriorate out here, and it's only going to continue and get worse and worse. And as iniquity abounds, the love of many shall wax cold. And with that officer they just showed in this clip saying he always wanted to be a cop, but due to situations he just can't do it anymore. That reminds me of the original RoboCop from the 80s, because in that movie, due to very similar circumstances that police are going through now, they were going through it in that movie. And remember, even though it came out in the 80s, it's supposed to take place in the future. You had a lot of cops talking about going on strike, and then the whole police force eventually went on strike. And what crime abounded in that movie. And then what did they have? RoboCop and Ed 209 to police the streets, which, hey, the elites want this situation out here, this situation of lawlessness, so they can bring that ordo ab chaos, that order out of chaos, get you people desperate out here and begging for any solution, which their solution is going to be that NW0, that GREATRESET, that fourth industrial revolution. Expect a state of martial law with NATO troops out here and robots like Ed 209. A lot of you Jakes and other bird-brained Americans are about to get that 30 seconds to comply treatment, if you know what I mean. But let's get back to these precepts. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 15 in the Apocrypha. I'm going to start at verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And that one people standing up and fighting against another can go into many things. One race of people standing up and fighting against another, which we know is a part of biblical prophecy as well. Matthew chapter 24, one nation shall rise up against another. One political group of people standing up and fighting against another. Red versus blue, conservative versus liberal. And we know there will be a second civil war in the U.S. Isaiah 19 verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, one class of people against another, going against another, and the average person going against those in the government. But hey, what would help exacerbate these issues? A state of lawlessness out here. People just having enough after seeing no police forces. So what? They pick up swords, that modern day gun, and take the law into their own hands. Or you have criminals standing up and going against other people, robbing them, raping women, carjackings, killings, etc., due to a state of iniquity out here or lawlessness. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. And that word sedition means conduct or speech inciting open rebellion against a ruling authority or monarch. And your modern day kings and princes are these people in the government. Your mayors, senators, governors, presidents, prime ministers, as well as the authorities that uphold the system, such as the military or the police force. And as we saw from that clip, there's a continuous situation of police officers leaving the force, which is what? Making people more bold out here to go commit more crimes, iniquity abounding. So what? People not regarding their kings nor princes. And again, just with police leaving the force, leading to a state of lawlessness, coming hyperinflation and economic collapse and food shortages, that's just going to further exacerbate the issue out here and get people in that seditious spirit to not regard their kings or princes. They're going to see that those that they put their full trust on let them down. So they're going to be looking to get blood for it. And also they're going to be looking to survive, get their hands on anything that they can. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power, as it said in the book of Judges, and every man did what was right in his eyes in that day. And it's going to be no different in the times we're coming into when people are pushed to the brink. Hey, they're going to be in that dog-eat-dog spirit, and every man's going to do what is right in his eyes to survive. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. What does that sound like? State of martial law. And what could easily bring that in? A lack of police on the streets, people disregarding their kings or princes, state of anarchy. So what? The authorities would have to bring in some force to put things back in order. A state of martial law, troops on the streets, and what else? Those robots, which they got out there and best believe they're going to be using. Over in California, they just put some of them robot dogs into service, and they were talking about putting guns on them. That's going to be a common occurrence out here on the streets of America as the situation continues to deteriorate. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And all these things are coming because of the pride of the pride that you people have been walking in. Hey, especially you Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, being in that rebellious and hard-headed spirit, not wanting to hearken unto your power through the words of the prophets. Hey, it's called Jacob's trouble for a reason. Hey, 2/3 of you wicked Israelites in America are going to be completely wiped off the map. And you other prideful, wicked nations of people in America are going to get that work as well. But as it says, cities shall be troubled, lawlessness, continued homicides, rapes, burglary, carjackings. The houses shall be destroyed. People breaking into houses to take what they want, and men shall be afraid. Hey, people that don't rely on Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, they not having any cloak in that day, having to just get it how they live. And a lot of these people out here just ain't ready for it. You're not mentally ready, and you're not physically ready. Most people out here can't go a day without eating or drinking. They don't fast. So just a little bit of time, and as that saying goes, pressure bust pipes. People are going to lose their goddamn minds. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Again, that modern day sword is that gun, but people are going to be using whatever they can get their hands on in these times we're coming into. Knives, sticks, brass knuckles, chains, Molotov cocktails, bats, etc., etc. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread or food and for great tribulations. Hey, these food shortages getting people desperate out here. This iniquity or lawlessness abounding, getting people desperate out here, seeing that they can't rely on the authorities, so they got to take, matters into their own hands, etc., etc. These are the times of Jacob's trouble that we are quickly coming into. And Apostle Tahar has deemed 2023 to be the hopeful year that all prophecies come to their fulfillment. And Abaratazah, this is the year that all these prophecies come to their fulfillment. But if it's this year or not, we know that by seeing information like what we just watched on CBN News' YouTube channel, we know that these times of trouble, of Jacob's trouble, these times of mass death, destruction, judgment, and punishment are upon us. So that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babol, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.